in this episode.
You want to get even weirder? Are we going to ever handshake again? How are you going to go through games after games? How are you going to meet someone new? Is like the hand high five, the air five going to be adopted? Is the air hug going to be adopted? Like, I'm walking through and
are you saying like after games?
In anything in general in life.
Do you think the grocery stores stay with the dividers?
Take this down a rabbit hole and get real deep in terms of what you're looking at. And if you're going to, I think you're going to see bacteria everywhere. You're going to see trouble around every corner.
It's going to happen anyways.
You're going to see an issue. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, you can let it control every aspect of you. I don't think that's a good route either.
If I have a kid right now, I don't have a kid, but if I did and I put him to kindergarten, Jimmy, Sally.
What are you doing? Taking a Lysol swipe to their face?
I mean, I'm thinking about it.
Let's finish it.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of The Closing Pitch. My name is Spiker Helms, and I'm joined by my co-host, David Birkby. This show is about culture, people, and how to create a winning lifestyle. Our goal is to bring a blue-collar mentality and deliver a hard-hitting questions of culture and people. There's no hidden agenda, just straight talk. With that, I would like to bring in David. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right, buddy. How about you?
I'm doing all right. We just got done talking with Tommy. I'm debating on whether to post Tommy's interview before or after this bonus episode. Because, again, this is a bonus episode. We don't know when we're going to post this. But we did have that conversation with him. It was very interesting.
Yeah, he was good, man. He brought some cool insight that I can honestly say, as myself as a 20-year-old, would not have brought that type of fire to this conversation.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because we're doing our best to make sure that we're giving best sound advice, but then hearing him, who's in the thick of it, really gave a different perspective, which kind of it validated a lot of things on my end.
Oh yeah, no, I really like that interview. I think it's going to be a cool one when it comes out.
And when talking to him, it was like we were talking about the COVID-19 situation, and we always talk, like, every time we open up an episode, we're like, oh, what did you do today? I'm like, well, I've watched Netflix 1,000 times, and I've ran my legs to the ground, and I can't feel anything, and man, I am running out of ideas and all of that, and we're both busy, but at the same time, it's like you get a little bit of cabin fever.
For sure, 100%. Have to, right?
Yeah, and it's tough for players right now because I can only imagine what they're dealing with. And being Tommy, who's 20 years old right now, and trying to find creative ideas, because like there's still stuff that we can do as a business.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, create content.
Just shifted your focus, right?
Yeah, our focus is completely shifted. But for players and coaches and people who require crowds and gatherings, it's a different type of situation. We see it because we are a part of it. But also, like, he's a player, so he's not playing.
So like, here's my example of that. Think about where we're at on a small business standpoint of what we do with our daily structure prior to COVID, okay? Maybe like 30% has been affected, I would say, roughly, of like stuff that now we can't do, like work one-on-one with kids, work in a group setting, team practices, etc. Probably, would you give me 30%, 40% has been affected?
Yeah.
Something like that? Well, if I'm a player in college or a player in high school who now can't go to school, they go to school online, but can't go to practice, can't play, a whole lot more than 30% has been affected, especially from a junior college or a college standpoint, right? Yeah. So like 70%, 80% of what they were doing on a normal day-to-day basis, they don't have anymore.
And I don't know what's going to happen because after talking to Shandi's cousin, it was 2 nights ago, talked to Shandi's cousin, and he was relaying a story of his name's V. He's a heart surgeon up in New York and Boston. And he was telling us that he actually is on call in a dorm room setting. This is a well-renowned heart surgeon, and now he's being put into a situation where he's going to be helping out with COVID-19. So, and Shandi's work is telling her, all right, we're going to stay home until July. But then I'm getting other mixed reviews like, all right, it's going to be May 31st. Like, we have no idea what's going to happen.
I am certain that I'm uncertain.
And and when being in that situation, the first thing that comes to mind is fear.
Yeah.
The fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
What is going to happen? And with media and everything like that, like I think that having a really hard conversation between you and I, because we have these conversations on the phone, and I don't think that those conversations are being had on traditional media. You see it somewhat on Facebook, but then there's a lot of predictions.
Keyboard warriors too.
Yeah, I mean, you have a lot of...
You know what I heard the other day? Everybody wants to have the answer. They want to be the ones who are able to tell everybody everything. Like, I got like 7 texts. I swear, I got like 7 texts from people saying like, just wanted to forewarn you, my friend in the government has already told us that there's going to be, the National Guard's going to be everywhere and the shutdown's going to be everywhere.
I'm getting them too.
Like, and then none of that's happened. So, but everybody, that's just my point. Everybody wants to be the one to break the news. Hey guys, I got the answer. But
everyone's their own journal.
Oh yeah, but
journalist.
Nobody has the answer to this yet. I mean, I think every day, every hour, every minute, that picture is becoming a little clearer. But I wouldn't call it. I don't know what that picture looks like yet.
It's like the Dunning-Kruger effect. We talked about that in a previous episode. I think it was like episode 6 or 5. Whatever. But we talked about the Dunning-Kruger effect, which is. You have confidence and then you have experience, right? And when you first learn about a topic and you're the first one to the punch, you are all the way up top. You are your confidence is super high. Yeah. But then as time goes by and you start getting experience, what does that do? You completely do what?
You go down.
You go straight down. It's like literally a V cut straight down. It's an inverted V. And now you're in this valley of despair. As a society, I think right now we are in this valley of despair where you're starting to see a lot of people making these bold predictions and they're not coming true. And everyone's like, hey, what's up with that?
Because they want to be first to the punch. Because maybe if they're right, you don't know. I mean,
and I think being able to drive home that narrative of like, this is what this is going to be. Because if they get it right, they become the authority figure, which is, I think, very selfish, and you're not doing it for the right reasons. What I think needs to happen, and I think it's doing it the right way for society, we're starting to mature out. I think people are starting to realize, okay, I can't trust that person. That person keeps on being like it's the sky is falling type of situation. Yeah. So from a society standpoint, we're maturing out and we're starting to realize, okay, we need to go towards the facts. We need to go towards the data, the numbers.
Yeah. Well, because that's going to be ultimately, and I don't know, I'm not smart enough. Trust me, if you're listening to this podcast, I am not smart enough. My advice is not warranted on this. This is just 2 guys talking this out and explaining our own situations. But for me, at least personally, I would think they're gathering data. They're getting more data, especially as like testing's going up, as just more information about this virus is coming out. And I've always thought that in order to make an educated decision, you have to have the most information in front of you to make that. So hopefully sooner rather than later, they can at least start to, they're starting to be like terms of you can see light at the end of the tunnel. Maybe there's a ending date coming sooner rather than later, et cetera. That's the thing that I'm looking forward to, that hopefully will come sooner rather than later.
Emotions versus logic.
Oh, yeah. Emotions don't make good decisions.
Spock versus Kirk. That's basically what it is.
Yeah. I mean, you start making all these outcomes and all these decisions on emotion, you're just going to fly off at the handle. You know what I mean? It's not taking all that information into consideration. That's what I'm trying to listen to when I am listening out there, is who's bringing me data, who's bringing me facts, who's bringing me this or that, rather than just off of pure emotion and uncertainty and projection.
You have to think about it too. Like, people are trying to make some money on that media. They're trying to get the eyeballs.
Agendas.
I mean, CNN, Fox News, all of the media outlets, their whole purpose is what?
Agenda. Push their agenda. Push their narrative.
Well, yeah.
And get eyeballs.
Get eyeballs. Because I got to pay the advertisers.
Ads, and it brings everything else. Yeah.
The advertisers pay me, so I got to get the eyeballs.
It's the same thing on social media.
So it's going to be sound bites.
It's the same stuff. Yeah.
It's sound bites.
Yeah.
I've got to get that sound bite. If I can get the sound bite, I get the money. I get the attention. And they're going off of that straight emotional aspect, which I don't think is really good for people in general, because again, we as people, we have people that are more left brain versus right brain. We have more people that are more emotional, and we have people that are more logical. And when we talk about, I was talking to my friend who's a doctor, I've mentioned him in previous episodes, but he's like, where's the scientific method in all this? When did we close the book in 4th grade and say, all right, we're just going to see a scientific method, we're going to go this direction?
Well, I think when it was just blown up so fast, like I don't personally in my lifetime, I've never seen anything like this. Like I'm 32 years old. I've never been a part of a war. I've never been a part of anything that's really shut down a country. I mean, obviously we had 9/11 and things like that. There were terrible days, terrible things happened. But nothing's ever shut down the country, and nothing's ever hit us where we don't know. And that unknown really brought that hysteria with it. And with that hysteria, like I think about myself, what's been probably a little over a month-ish, something like that.
Yeah.
I did like so many different phases. I've been through the first phase where I'm like doubting it. I was like, no chance. This give it a week.
Oh, I was the same thing. I was like,
give it a week,
guys. We're gonna be back on the field, and because we've heard about it, bird flu, Zika.
Like, give it a week. It's nothing. Okay. Then I went into the phase of, they're shutting stuff down. The business is kind of suspended. That bars and restaurants are down. That everything else is down. And so when I hit that phase, I kind of started playing the roller coaster game. I'd get all crazy one day, the next day I'd be down. The next day I'm trying to play Positive Pete and stay up here, and the next day I'm down. And now I've kind of hit in the phase over the last week or so where I'm just trying to stay even. That's the only thing I can do. I can't listen to everything out there because it's not going to help me. I'm trying to listen, and I'm trying to hit both sides, and I'm trying to hear everybody's angle, but not taking one thing too far than the other,
Yeah, and I mean, you hear May 31st, like NCAA came out with April 15th, and then now they're at May 31st. And then you have Little League that just, you have some Little Leagues that are canceling. You have Legion that some leagues are canceling. So it's kind of putting like, are we pressing the cancel button too early?
Well, it's weird. I know some universities where you can't even be on campus through July 31st now. No one. I mean, other than, I guess, administrative personnel who need to be there. But
there has to be a good reason for that.
Well,
like you would think, like, okay, the data here says this, so that we're going to make this prediction that this is going to happen. But then it's again a prediction. Like the CDC. The CDC said, okay, if we don't flatten the curve, which I totally agree with.
I totally do too. I get it.
I think the social distancing thing was the right move.
And there are so many smart people who made that decision to me. So,
yes.
Yeah.
But part of me at the same time is like, are we canceling this a little bit too early? Are we pressing that button and just pressing the ejectomit too early?
Well, you do that because you don't want to be the person or the business or the institution that allows you back, and then all of a sudden you're the one who's caused more harm than anything else. So maybe you kind of go to the opposite spectrum and you go overboard on it with the idea that I can at least pull back the reins a little if it clears up. But then there's other guys who are like, well, we should never have shut down in the first place. And I at least when thinking of these things, you got extremists on both sides. And what I've always kind of taken out, generally the truth and the right thing to do generally kind of lands right in that middle. And hopefully, I mean, that's where I think it'll end up. But,
Yeah, it's so weird. It is the weirdest thing. And like me thinking in the summer, is there going to be summer baseball or softball if you're a softball player?
You want to get even weirder? Are we going to ever handshake again? How are you going to go through games after games? How are you going to meet someone new?
I don't.
Is like the hand high five, the air five going to be adopted? Is the air hug going to be adopted? Like I'm walking through, and are you
saying like after games?
In anything in general in life.
Do you think the grocery stores stay with the dividers?
Why not? I don't know.
Do you think people
built them?
Do you think they're going to stay with the covering the mouth and the nose?
I mean, that's what
China.
That's what basically now our grocery stores have made a strong recommendation to wear it. Like I got one in my car. I got a mask in my car. If I have to go to a grocery store, which we try to limit, but I mean, people are acting like, and I know they tell you like, they've said just assume that you have it. That's what people have been saying, so that you don't go and affect others.
But
And
that puts you in a bind, though.
it's
I don't
so-
know how you
dude.
feel about that, but I feel like for me, if I did that, I'd feel like I'm not living life like how I should. Like,
Oh, I
we're all
agree.
going to go out at some point. I mean, nature is undefeated. Like, nature is a 1,000,000 to 0 right now. But, I mean, no one's going to beat nature.
Well, and I totally agree, and I think there should be a balance there. And obviously, again, we're taking the limitations and the standards and how everything's the shutdown serious, and the virus needs to be taken serious because we don't understand it yet. But be very careful with how you approach other people, because right now I've been walking, like trying to get an exercise each day, and if I see someone, it's like that person has the plague, I have the plague, go run the opposite direction. Like, we're scared of people. What I've always I've had this conversation with several of my friends and you, what is that going to end up being like after this whole thing passes? What kind of social limitations or issues is this going to bring up? Because I don't think that you're just going to automatically turn back on what everybody else was doing before. You know, I don't think you're going to sit next to someone that close. It's just weird. Like, what are we setting? What standards are we setting?
There's a number of economists, because, again, I love finance. I love the economy. I just enjoy reading up on it and getting viewpoints from different perspectives. I'll go far left and far right. But there's a number of economists that are making the prediction that the cities like New York City, Boston, highly populated, suburbia life is going to boom once this is over. And the real estate is going to boom in the suburban areas. And it makes kind of sense. Like, if you start getting the population starts spreading out that way, it really does. Like, I could see the Midwest blowing up.
Well, I mean, me and you live in what you would call suburban areas, and like on a daily basis in back pre-COVID life, okay, well, you might, even if you went to a store in a couple places, you're going to run past, like, literally, like, let's say within 10 feet of people, you're going to probably run past 100 people maybe. But if you're in one of those highly dense spaces, thousands?
Oh, New York.
I've never been to New York.
New York City is one of my favorite cities in all of the world. Granted, I haven't seen like Australia and China and all of that.
Those are countries.
I'm going to India
because
because
cities.
Well, you know what you know what I'm saying. But we're going to India. That's not a city.
Another country.
That's another country.
We'll have to teach you your geography, my man.
Anyways, we're going to a Minabab in December. But anyways, back to what I was talking about. New York City. I love London. I love New York. I love Mexico City. New York is my favorite, though. I've been to Boston, too. I don't know if I would live there now. And that's my dream city to live in. I would love to live and try to survive through New York City because I find it like a challenge. I find it as like, that is like the ultimate. If you can live in Manhattan, you're like the real deal.
Oh, yeah.
But now with this whole COVID-19 situation, I don't know, man. Like,
well, I mean, I think each and every one of us are going to take this a little bit differently, but I think the one thing we can all agree on is that it's gonna change the way you go about your thought process with things. Like, take myself a month ago. There's no chance, and you know me, I was kind of a germaphobe to begin with, and I would wash my hands a ton. And I have easily doubled, tripled it. I watch what surfaces I touch. I do all kinds of crazy things now because that's what I'm being told to do.
Are you
that's
a glove
the new norm.
Are you a glove wearer?
No, because I kind of heard like if you're touching the gloves and you're touching everything else and then taking the gloves, I don't know. I got down that rabbit hole, so I haven't done that yet. But I have the mask. I do have gloves in my car too, but I just haven't worn them yet. But I mean, it's just I wonder how that's going to affect things because our society, our businesses, our games, everything how we have it set up prior to this was not set up for what post-COVID like social restrictions might call for.
You know what we're dealing with, right? Now imagine if you're like a wedding photographer or a wedding coordinator. Holy cow.
Are you going to have a 350-person wedding ever again?
Oh, man, I don't know.
Are you going to go dance with total strangers on the dance floor? Because I was a kind of a social butterfly at those things.
I think...
I used to show off,
I literally had that picture in my
moves.
head.
Yeah.
You with taking the coat off and saying, "Di, hold this."
Absolutely.
I'm gonna go shake it.
But maybe not now. I don't know. I mean, that's the point. I hope it all does get back to normal because There's going to be changes. There's going to be things that come out of it. Hopefully, people take better care of their hygiene. Hopefully, they're washing their hands more. Hopefully, they're watching if they're sick. One of the best things that hopefully comes out of this is if you're sick, now you understand how it can be passed to other people. Because, I mean, I'll be totally honest, because I'll take my thought process, because this has changed, okay? When I would get sick in the past, and, you know, I'm a big worker. I don't like being out of things. Whenever, like, the minute I started to feel better, I would probably go back to work. I would have probably done that.
Well, that's the American way.
Yeah, because, you know,
I'm
not going to work when I have a fever. I'm not going to work anything. But let's say I'm like 24 hours or 48 hours without a fever, and I'm probably like 75%, 80%. I'm going back to work, because I'm not letting my people down who I work for and work with, because they need that productivity. Well, that might change. Like, sick days might go through the roof now.
Yeah, that's the American way.
But
like,
now
you're also looked at, like, I was talking to I forgot who I was talking to. I think it was one of our coaches, but I was like, yeah, it was Joe. And I was like, you know, I don't know if when I'm sick, I might stay home, because, like, before I would feel like, man, you're such a wussy.
Oh, for sure.
Why are you staying home right now?
100%. That's
because you don't want to be labeled as like the lazy guy.
100%. And now it's like, now I think you might see people stay home for 5, 6, 7 days after, just because they want to make sure that they're not contracting or passing it on to other people. Not contracting, but passing it along.
There's another prediction. I don't know how, again, predictions are predictions right now. Everyone's giving them. But another economist said he has a feeling that work from home is going to happen more often now than ever. And I think that's why you're going to see suburbia populate even more, because that's the whole thing. I don't want to drive into New York City. I don't want to drive into Boston or LA. Everyone's going to move out to suburbia, and they can realize, like, companies are going to say, all right, you are a more productive person when you're at home, so we want you to stay home. You're not going to come to the work.
Yeah, I definitely think there's going to be way more options that are going to be discovered out of this. Like, think about virtual meetings and everything like that. That's gone through the roof right now. More people are on Zoom, and more people are on
older people are
FaceTime
starting to realize they can do it.
That's gone through the moon. I think that just getting a lot of the things that people are becoming creative about on how to shape their time now. You know, it's gonna shape your jobs. It's gonna shape how you move forward with things. I mean, I don't think you're gonna ever replace brick and mortar and stuff like that, but there's gonna be a shift for sure, especially with the expansion of technology.
Shopping is gonna change, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Online shopping is going to go.
It was already going that way.
Well,
it just kind of hit this into hyperdrive, I think.
I remember 5-6 years ago, I was talking about, like, online sales, and I was like, everything's going to go online. And a number of people were like, no, you're absolutely crazy. Like, it's not that big of a number. I think it's going to explode even more now.
I mean, who's hiring? Amazon.
Oh, without a doubt. Amazon, Walmart's now in that game. Target's getting in there. Best Buy. I just saw Best Buy. On their website, they have curbside pickup. I think it's going to go more that route too.
Curbside pickup for electronics?
Yeah. Go online, bestbuy.com.
If I want a 50-inch TV to go.
Yes.
I can get it?
You're getting it, yeah. People don't want to go into the stores now. And Target, I'm sure Target and Walmart and these other brands are like, thank God we did curbside. We literally went to curbside. Because
that's crazy.
Because we don't see it that, like, in suburban, like St. Louis. I don't think a lot of people really access that curbside because we're always last. Midwest is always last in trends. Like all the cool music. I remember with my friends who were on the East Coast. I'd be like, "Oh man, did you hear this track?" And they're like, "Yeah, that came out like 2 years ago." Mm-hmm. I was like, "Oh, okay." I think it's gonna be the same thing. Like curbside pickup. I am not living on the East Coast, but I'm sure curbside pickup's going out the roof.
That's crazy. I would have never thought that with like non-restaurant stores now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. What does that do for restaurants?
Well, it's another option, but I mean, restaurants to me, that's going to be a weird one on how they
respond.
That's
a social place.
I mean, like I always thought of restaurants and bars and stuff like that is to go have time, spend time with your friends and your family, and to gather. Yeah. Like it's all about gatherings to me. I wonder how that's going to be affected, because like when you go back, you're not going to sit side by side with a total stranger.
Well, even like Texas Roadhouse, we went to another plug for them. Gosh dang it. Keep on giving plugs.
That's all right.
just left and
Maybe
right.
they're hearing. They'll like it.
They'll share it with their
why not?
customer base.
Of
Who
course.
knows?
Networking, baby.
But we went to the Roadhouse up here,
Uh-huh.
and right before COVID-19 hit, like where everything just completely shut down.
Yeah.
And they literally wiped down everything. Like they literally, it felt like it was like a 5-star type of restaurant now.
Well, I guarantee that's going to be the new norm. It's going to be, because people are going to that's a level of expectation now that before I think people would oversight and be like, yeah, they probably clean or they probably do this or whatnot. And they do it, after store hours, etc.
That means prices are going to go up.
And so now that's going to be a level of expectation that you're going to desanitize, this area for me. You're going to clean this. You're going to make sure between every customer interaction, there's going to be a cleaning. There's going to be this. There's going to be that. I mean, I don't even know how it's going to affect our stuff.
I could totally see prices going up because of that, because you're going to have to pay an extra employee to do that. And food prices are probably going to go up anyways, but because of handling food.
Everything's probably the standard of cleanliness. I'll be real interested to see next year's flu statistics. Because I heard somebody say something that because of all the new guidelines that have been taken this year with COVID, that cleanliness standards in every aspect of life, from business to personal, has just gone through the roof, and people have become, the awareness factor has become like real. I wonder if that's going to shoot flu stats down next year.
I bet you flu shots go way up.
Sure.
Go way, way up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, vaccinations in general probably go up. But then it goes back to this point. A friend of mine brought this up. I mean, with all the interaction that we have with people on a daily basis, again, prior COVID, from handshakes to, even after a practice, dude, we'd handshake every single player in there.
Oh, yeah.
And they'd have interactions with thousands of people. People might be throwing up listening to me because it sounds so gross right now, but that's what you used to do.
Yeah.
That was life, right?
Yeah.
So did you build up a lot of immunities to things?
That's another thing, yeah.
I drank hose water as a kid, dude. It was closer than the sink.
You should totally mess with somebody and literally just drink out of a hose and just stare at your neighbors.
Right now, no, they'd move or call the cops on me, probably. You know what I mean? But you have to think that interaction built up an immune system. You're around so many people. I even heard a term the other day that I'd never heard in my entire life. It was called herd immunity. Do you know what this is?
I'll bite. Go ahead.
Okay. From what I understand, it's when a whole group of people, and I'm not a doctor, but it's based on the facts of when you're in a group setting and you're constantly around other people, your immunity is going to get stronger, okay, because you're just interacting with so many different things that are going on, and then that herd immunity is going to help you become immune to different things.
I have heard that. I have heard that. Do you think people are going to have parties with herd
I don't know.
Having a herd party?
Okay. No, I hope not.
The CDC's calling us right now. Stop. Take them off. I actually did hear that. Forgot what country's doing it. They're not going off of the whole social distancing.
Sweden.
I think it's Sweden or Switzerland.
Sweden is not doing any shutdown.
Yeah, they're just
do your best.
Let's roll
stay
with
cleanliness, social distancing. Everybody's wearing a mask out, etc. But
good luck, everybody.
And truthfully, I don't know how they're doing with that. I assume it's not gotten terribly bad because I haven't heard anything. But
well, I'm sure the media would be all over it if it
I also
was.
don't think Sweden's probably as dense of a culture as we are and stuff like that.
No.
There's things to take into consideration. They don't have a New York or an LA or
Well, the whole purpose of the social distancing is not tax the healthcare system.
Correct.
That's the whole purpose.
That's the whole
right?
idea. So,
you can't really stop a virus.
No,
it's going to happen.
Not at all.
So, man,
it's just weird, dude. It's weird. I want more answers. I want it to be.
What does daycares do?
That
is that's incubation at its finest.
I thought they were still doing that, but I don't really know, to be honest with you. I think one of my friends who has a young daughter, I believe they're still in business. I don't know though.
But do you wipe down your kid when he comes out of the?
Oh, I don't know. I have no idea, man. The level of cleanliness, it's weird.
Because
if I
have a kid right now, I don't have a kid. But if I did, and I put him to kindercare, Jimmy, Sally,
What are you doing? Taking a Lysol swipe to their face?
I mean, I'm thinking about it. We're taking a shower when you get home. I don't know. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's a weird.
I'll tell you this much: you could probably, take this down a rabbit hole and get real deep in terms of what you're looking at. And if you're going to, I think you're going to see bacteria everywhere. You're going to see trouble around every corner.
It's going to happen anyways.
You're going to see an issue. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, you can let it control every aspect of you. I don't think that's a good route either. Like, there's a level.
Now that you're thinking about it, I think I was kind of just being tooth and cheek or cheek and tooth, whatever that phrase is.
Well, listen, again, awareness is key. Washing your hands, being smart with what you're doing. If you're sick, stay home. Those are the things that hopefully come out and become just more standards, and it's not just a case-by-case basis based on what that person chooses to do or doesn't. I hope that becomes like the standard that is set now. But if you let this thing just take control of your thoughts, and that's like, I've heard psychologists come on TV and start talking about that, because now we're probably
there's
watching,
actually people that are having problems with this.
Oh yeah, well, I mean,
Really?
One, you're at home almost all day.
Well, I can see cabin fever. I'm getting cabin fever a little bit.
Well, you're watching the news, you're listening to a million different things, and if you choose to think about it that way, you're going to think that all these things are out to get you at all times.
Mm-hmm.
And even after this is over, that's what they're talking about now, that even once this is over, what are the psychological effects that are going to be lingering with this? Are you going to be worried about every doorknob you touch? Are you going to ever shake another person's hand? Are you going to ever get closer to someone?
Fear is a bad thing, man.
It's terrible. It's really terrible, and it makes it's something really it's hard to overcome in your brain, because once you go down that hole, it's like falling down a mountain, a real steep mountain, having to climb back up. I mean, it's not going to be an easy thing.
That's
for some.
almost as similar as like the bubble parents, where they wrap up their kid.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's an analogy, but wrap up their kid in bubble wrap and like,
Yep.
all right, go ahead and play. Like, they're just so afraid that the kid's gonna scrape up his knee
Mm-hmm.
or his emotions are gonna get hurt if he doesn't get a trophy or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the same thing. Like, it's starting to be personalized though, and you're starting to kind of bubble wrap your own identity.
Yeah, I mean I just wonder the limitations. I wonder what people are going to be doing. What's the new norm? If you can't hide from everything.
Do you think, because
can't.
we're in the baseball industry, do you think people go back to tournaments?
Yeah.
Do you think there's going to be a drop in teams?
No.
It's going to be the same.
I think the interactions are going to be different. I think, from how you shake hands, which I don't think will happen after a game.
No
I think
way.
sportsmanship stuff is going to go away like that. I swear, maybe the craziest thing is like you all like get on first baseline, third baseline, and bow at each other. I don't know. I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
So you think it's going to be like how the Japanese players do it?
I don't know. I mean, it could. Something's gonna be different. I guarantee it's not the same.
So you're saying
what? Here's a crazy thought. Okay, what do pitchers do on a mound to get grip on a baseball?
lick their fingers.
Lick their fingers and then touch the ball.
They're going to lick their fingers. That's a natural habit.
Well, that ball's touched about 400 people.
I can't see like an umpire like, no, Jimmy. No.
But is that going to be set up by like Major League Baseball saying don't do that?
Ooh.
I'm just saying, like, those are the types of things that, like,
even sharing water. Do you share like a water canteen or anything like that?
No, not now. I've seen kids just
water
drink
canteen.
out of this.
What are we in the Army? Okay.
I've seen
bottle.
of the same bottle, yeah, the same jug. I mean, I've seen kids share the same thing because they forgot their water jug, and now parents are gonna be like, "Don't do that. No, he can't have your water." I mean, dude, I'm telling you, it's gonna be different. I don't know for how long it's going to be different and what standards truly get adopted and what people are just willing, like, where's the breaking line? Where's the line that says, no, I'm not going to be that different?
I remember Bryce Harper when all this thing was going down. He's like, I'm still going to shake hands and still live my life.
The Dr. Fauci, he came out and said shaking hands might not be a thing. Like, that might not be a thing going forward. That seems extreme. That's something that I grew up on. Like, if I was, taking a girl out on a date and I met her father for the first time, a good firm handshake was a necessity. Whether you're in business, like, a good handshake is something that I look forward to. All right. And, it's something that you even practice. I practiced that when I was getting my master's degree. That was one of our teachers was like, I'm going to teach you exactly how to handshake, the right amount of eye contact, what you should do with your non-shaking hand arm,
Man, if
etc.
that happened now, you should be like put into prison, I guess. That's crazy.
It's just gone. Like, I've done more air hugs and air fives in the last, month than I think I ever have.
Have you been invited to it's like a game night on Zoom?
No, I've done like the Zoom friend parties or something where like you get like, we did it with like 3 other couples the other night.
Like a happy hour type of deal?
It wasn't that, but like it was just where we all got on so we could all see each other on one thing. And that was kind of cool, but like, what are you doing? Not much. What are you doing? Not much. All right, good talk, guys. Like, there's not a lot of shared life experiences in this one, so.
You still staying in your house? Yep,
Yeah,
sure am.
When was the last time you showered? Oh, no, yesterday. Okay, good.
There's this new thing where I don't know if it's new. It's new to me, but Shandi said that we're going to jump in on this game night. And couples or friends, whoever, go onto this app, and then you play a game on the app, kind of similar to like a board night game.
I've played some board night games, dude. Played a little Monopoly. I think I shared this story with you. I am pretty ruthless on that game. I played one-on-one against my wife. I beat her in 15 minutes. I bankrupted her, took her down. She was not very happy with me. But the key was I got the houses first. Got to take advantage of that, right? Capitalist. Then I wanted another game night too. But board games are coming back in style for me.
What's your game plan on Monopoly? What do you do?
I like the cheap spots first. So you got to get the cheap houses. They cost little. You can put a hotel up fast. And if you get the hotel up first and they hit when they don't have money, you win.
I always go for Boardwalk and Park Place. I won't spend my money until I get there. And then after that, then I buy up all the slums.
You're going to be too late. I'm going to have every mom and pop on the shop, and I'm going to beat you.
So do you go after the greens and the reds?
I go after the purples, the light blues, the reds, the oranges.
So you are
everything.
You are the Slumdog Millionaire.
Absolutely, absolutely. Love those properties.
Monopoly is such an awful game when you think about it. Just like you're trying to bankrupt your own wife.
Oh yeah, yeah. It took about 30 minutes for her to get over that. But
I love doing the slow death where you buy up the big rich properties. Like, I hate the railroads because the railroads they seem like a great deal, but they're not a great deal. Like, you want to be Mr. Vanderbilt, but it doesn't really work out. But Boardwalk and Park Place, and then I go for the slums. So then when they land on Go and they get that $400 or they pass it, then they just give it back to me. Yep. And it's kind of like, oh man, I can't.
Mediterranean, Baltic. Oh,
yeah,
I know all the properties.
I continue the game as long as I possibly can.
I know all the property names. But look, that's like the cool. I haven't played Monopoly for like 7-8 years and maybe more. Some of the things that I'm doing and the time that I am spending like with my wife and talking on the phone, I think I've called more family and friends in the past, or FaceTime them or Zoomed them in the past month than I ever have. So that's been a positive. I think the care for each other has gone up. I think that, the care for fellow man has gone up than it used to be. And it wasn't like it was there, but I don't think it's ever been heightened to these levels. So at least from that aspect, I think hopefully that's something that sticks. I hope, once that normal green light comes back on, we just don't forget about each other and everything else, because it has been kind of neat to see this country come together on that. Because, again, I don't think we've ever, done that in the past, not in the way I've seen it.
So, predictions are really meaningless. So let's give our own predictions on this. When do you think everything goes back to quote unquote normal?
Quote unquote normal, or everything
we go back
up,
to sporting events and all that. We go back to doing our hobbies and.
Oh man, I don't know. I've always taken this stance on it that this country, this world, was not built to shut down. I mean, everything that's been put in place, how businesses are ran, how you interact with people. Everything, commerce, from everything, it's not built to stop. So this can't be forever. I think based on what I'm hearing is that we're starting to figure some more stuff out. We're starting to understand our enemy, the COVID virus.
You're giving me a very diplomatic answer.
I am, but I'm going to give you an answer here in a second. But I am saying that I think some of the world's smartest people are now all focused on beating this thing. And when that happens, I think you exponentially speed up the process, because it's just sole focus is to win on that. And I wouldn't want to be the virus against all these people trying to beat it. So I think that it's going to be, I'm sure hoping, I'm hoping back to normal, like everything's back going with different guidelines, et cetera. June 1, maybe the economy, like they're saying, opens up May 1, and you start to just gradually open up areas based on where the success, where the virus is and isn't, or where it's declined already, and have new guidelines. So hope that, it just doesn't come back and rear its ugly head. So
I say July.
Okay.
I think we'll start seeing stuff happen in June, but I think everything starts normalizing in July, and I think we run all the way up until about October, November. And I think that, like you said, things are going to start getting a little bit more serious on the end of like, okay, this is what we have to do. This is how we're going to do it. Wipe down everything. I think people are really going to pay attention to that, because I think summer is kind of like, I'm going to go back out and go to the beaches, go to the pools. Like, you can't really, you miss that stuff, and go to the ballparks. And we're kind of forget about it for a little bit. And I think November, December, that's when it's going to start kind of hitting us a little bit again. We're going to prepare in October. Hopefully we have a vaccine by then. But I do think that it's going to be in that situation, because Bloomberg, I think on their Instagram account, they came out that there's a 6-month travel ban outside of the States. I'm not for sure on that.
No, really?
I think Shondy's brother sent it to me, my brother-in-law.
That wouldn't be good. I have a wedding in Toronto in August. So
yeah, I mean, the wedding I was supposed to go to in New York got canceled.
Yeah. And
they're trying to do July. So hopefully we'll be able to do it.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to India in December.
Yeah.
So hopefully all this clears up. But
yeah.
I do think that you'll have this break in July. And then once we get to October, November, I think it's going to pick back up. Hopefully we're prepared for it, and we have a vaccine. But I do think that it's going to go along the lines of what you said.
Yeah.
Because you can't stop.
You can't stop it.
You can't. Well, and you can't stop it, and you can't stop humans, and especially Americans, who are built to create awesome things. You can't stop the American person, and even the world. Like, we're out to create awesome things.
Yeah. So hopefully this thing changes sooner rather than later. But I'll tell you this: the one thing, and I don't know if we're doing a closing pitch on this episode.
Let's just go to the closing pitch.
Okay.
Let's do it. It's a bonus closing pitch.
Okay.
Go ahead.
My perspective on everyday normal life has totally changed. I took for granted all the amenities, all the things that you got to do, the freedom, the just making, like, even just like, hey, you want to go out to eat tonight, hon? That was taken for granted, because you always think it's going to be there. You always think that there's going to be sports. There's going to be, I turned on ESPN the other day and it was playing the Masters from 1997. I mean, you would have never thought that this would stop, right? So going forward, the ability to go watch a game, the ability to hang out with your friends, your family, to go have a dinner with them, to go do all the things that you were accustomed to doing on a daily basis that you took for granted for. I think hopefully I hold on to that, but I know for in the short term I won't. And I think I'll gain a new perspective on the freedom and the situation that we had.
That's for sure. Missing sports, I think, is a big thing for me, because I do enjoy it. I enjoy watching the NBA, and I love getting all of the sports and seeing what those other guys are doing and girls doing. I will say this, that fear is a big thing right now, and managing fear is a very strong trait if you can master it. And I still haven't mastered it, because again, there's uncertainties.
I don't think you ever master it, Spike.
Yeah, but it's the emotion side and it's the logic side. You have to know your emotions and you have to know the logic. You want to be right in the middle. You don't want to be too far left and you don't want to be too far right. You want to be right in the middle when it comes to that, because if you go, and people are going to swing either way. It's just managing it to where you don't go hysteria on one side or the other, because if you have a lot of emotions, you don't become the reasonable person.
Right.
If you go to the logic side, you become the boring person. So you kind of want to be in that middle ground. And what this COVID-19 situation has really brought about is that I think it's maturing out society quite a bit, which is awesome to see.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, that is our closing pitches. We want to hear your closing pitch. We use an app called Anchor. It's a pretty cool app. You can actually message us and send your own audio wave. Just download the app Anchor, or you can go to their website, anchor.fm, I think it is. And then if you don't want to do that, you can send us a direct message on any of the social media platforms. Just type in Rawlings Tigers. We control those accounts. And yeah, I think that's it. Oh, subscribe. We got to subscribe.
Leave a review.
Yes, we have to leave a review because that helps us out a ton. Also gives us
Maybe a rating.
A rating, yeah, 5-star rating preferably. But give us a written review. That helps us out and also helps us reach more people. We also have a YouTube channel if you want to watch it on YouTube. We do clips as well if you want to get bite-sized micro content.
Thanks, guys, as always, for listening, and stay safe, and hopefully we're through this soon.
See ya. Thank you for watching or listening or both to The Closing Pitch. If you would like to get your closing pitch featured on the show, we use a podcasting app called Anchor where you can submit your statement or question via audio, or what you can do is comment in the comment section of this post. We also accept direct messages. Please give us the A-OK if you do send us a DM to use your statement or question on the show. Last thing, please give us a review on your platform of choice, 5-star preferably, and we value your opinion, and this allows us to reach more people. Thank you for listening, and we will catch you in the next episode.